All right, here we are with an unboxing for a brand new glide bait that I've got. Not this one over here. This is a new Roman Made Negotiator. I really like glide baits. I have been fishing glide baits for, I don't know, probably 10 years or so. Am I an expert? No. I don't claim to be an expert. I like throwing them. I've caught fish on glide baits in a Bassmaster competition. I am not Brandon Polinick or Carl Jacobson. I do like the glider, as he would say. Do like the glider. So when I saw this, I was like, man, I have got to get this thing. This is the new Roman Made Negotiator. It's the Awabi, if I said that correctly. I have no idea what that means. I have the Awabi, and it's the pearl bass. They had three new colors, and they're really cool because they got some depth in there. And that's one of the things, because this is the one I've had for a long time. You can see this bad boy's got some serious teeth marks. I've caught multiple sixes, a bunch of sixes, I've caught sevens, and I've even caught a couple 8-pounders on this one particular bait. And this is just their regular bass. You can see it's got the hook rash on the side, teeth mark on the top. I usually put a tournament snap, one of the Gamakatsu ones, the tournament snap on the front. This is not really a glide bait special, but I just do want to touch on some of the things that I do with the Negotiator. These are the Negotiator kind of floats mid-high, is what it's slow float is what they call it, but it's kind of mid-high. When I put these are the Gamakatsu G Finesse, the Aaron Martin's medium heavy trebles. These are the 1/0, no, number one, excuse me, the number ones. I put these on there, or they may, no, I'm sorry, these are the 1/0s. I put these on there when I want that bait to stay up real high in the water column, because these hooks are fairly light for their size. So this, man, I can keep this Negotiator, I can work it back and forth, keep it within that top 2 or so feet of the water column if I want to do that. If I want to fish it a little bit faster or a little bit deeper, I'll go with the Gamakatsu, just the regular round bend treble hooks, the number ones. The number ones are what and they're a little bit longer. There's more metal and they're a little heavier, so it'll help sink it a little bit faster if I want to get a little faster, get it down a little bit more. But that's so this is my old tried and true, but I got this new guy and I want to unbox it for you and just talk about it a little bit. The box itself is just so beautiful. I mean, I feel like oh, look at that. Look at that. Uh-huh. Yep. So I'm gonna take this out. You know what? Before I even get to this, I want to show you, I want to compare, because you might be saying, man, that bait, that glide bait is too big. I think it's a little over 7 inches long. It's a bigger bait, but this is the Roman Made Mother. Same company makes it. They're wooden, but this bait is 10.5 inches long. It is heavy, it's like 7 ounces. I mean, this bad boy is heavy. I don't think I even have the proper tackle to throw this thing. I'll be honest with you, I just don't think I do. But it is beautiful, it is huge. It's really more of a collector's piece for me. I might end up getting the tackle that I need to throw it on. But I'll go over the tackle that I throw the Negotiator on here in a minute. But let's get back to this beautiful white bass model. And man, it is so tight in this package. It's crazy. So I've got to pull down all these little levers to get that bad boy out of there. Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. Now it's got white on the top and bottom, and then it's got, they call it bass, but it's kind of a bass pattern, but if you can see, it's got a lot of little green and purple pearlescence in there on the side as you rotate it and kind of show it, the light hits it in a little different ways. So it's definitely, exactly the same size as the regular Negotiator. Now this one looks like it's a little bit fatter in the very front. It's the same length and all, but it looks like it's a little thicker. This bait is a little thicker than the one I'm used to throwing. Weight-wise, it feels very similar. I didn't foresee it to be a different size, but it's definitely a little thicker on the tail section as well. That is very interesting. So now I'm gonna have to do an on the water comparison. So we're doing the unboxing here. Might have to do an on the water if you guys want to see that. But yeah, definitely a little different. I'm gonna be curious to see what the differences are. Now it comes with 2 silver hooks. I'm sure they're gonna be pretty sharp. I don't know why they put the silver hooks in there. The silver hooks come on that for whatever reason. And every time I see silver hooks, I think of like a 30-year-old rattle trap. But that's the white bass. They have 2 other colors, one with a darker back and similar sides, and then they have more like I think a shiner color. But for me, I wanted one that I could use in real low light conditions or when the water has some stain to it. And that's why I got this white bass one, because I mean, if the water's a little bit clearer, I will probably go to a more natural, realistic, like the Tater Hog, the Hog Farmer Jr. That one is very realistic. I mean, it is ultra realistic. And I might go to that, something like that in the little bit clearer water if I want that glide bait, because they're very similar size. But if that water's got a little color to it, I mean, like, down in Florida with that white and then that little iridescent, man, you get that little iridescent pop on the sides, and man, I can see the old biggins just coming out there and mauling that thing. Just wild. But let me give you a little rundown on the tackle that I throw it on. So you're like, yeah, man, that's cool. I'm gonna go click on wherever you got that online. I think I got these from Tackle Warehouse. But man, like, you just have to hunt around wherever you can find them, get them, because Roman Made Negotiators are very hard to get, especially like the old school bass pattern like this. They're very hard to get, and that's why some of the other companies have come out with similar versions. I'm not going to call them knockoffs, because if a company can supply plenty of product, then there's no need for other companies to make the same thing. So that would be, in my opinion, a knockoff. If a company like Roman Made can't supply the demand, I mean, not even remotely close to it, and other companies are willing to make a bait similar that can kind of fill the same niche, then they're just filling the demand. And so, like Storm's doing that with that Arashi Glide. And I know that Polinick design, these glide baits are very hard to get to run right. And that's one of the reasons Roman Made, they don't make a zillion of them, they just make them correctly. The Storm with that Arashi Glide, it's a hard bait to make run correctly, but Polinick, worked very, very closely with the designers and dialed it in. I haven't thrown one, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. But for my Negotiator, tackle-wise, I'm gonna throw, this is the Cash-In Icon. This is one of the early models for the swim bait. They have 2 new Icon swim bait rods. This is the smaller one. This is the 7/8. The blank is very similar to like what was in the sledge rod, the 7/8 sledge rod. The blank is very similar. They tweaked a few things with the handle length and whatever, but this is, I think, a really good rod for that Negotiator. It gives you enough, because you have to have enough backbone to where you can throw that bait accurately, because this is, pretty heavy lure. It's, I don't know, 3 ounces, 4 ounces, something in that range. Don't quote me on that. But it's fairly heavy, so you got to have a rod that's got enough backbone to be able to zing it. But then you have to have enough tip to where you can work it properly, and then when the fish load up on it, it's going to load. So it kind of has to have that parabolic bend. All right, so that parabolic bend is important when you've got that glide bait, because that is going to allow them to load up on it. You don't want to jerk it away from them too quick. Very important, so it has to have that parabolic, softer bend, but still enough power, which this rod is perfectly dialed in. A lot of 7/6 medium heavy flipping sticks can work in a pinch if you don't have anything else. But then you make sure you want to have a bigger framed reel. I like the Daiwa Tatula 150, bigger framed reel, bigger handle. It's easier when you're doing those little chop turns. I like that. It's 6:3 to 1 is what I like gear ratio wise. And I'll use anywhere from 18 to 20 to 22 pound Sunline shooter usually, because I do not want to break that thing off. This bad boy right here is like 300 bones. So I'm just saying, don't want to break it off. Preferably not whack it against bridge pilings and so forth. But that's the real and kind of setup that I like for it. Probably if you want to just kind of do one, just do 20-pound test. 20-pound test with that it's online shooter is absolutely money. Real tough, good line for using that. And you definitely want to put that snap on the front. And I don't see anything on the front. You don't have to use a snap. You can tie directly to that front, and that bait is still going to have plenty of good wide gliding and you know, chopping back and forth if you want to do that. You don't have to. If you want a little extra kick on it, you can put that little snap on the front. That way you can, you know, switch between two different ones, or if you want to take that thing off after you're done fishing it, you want to take it off and put it back in its little protective house, little box right here, or whatever you want to store them in. You can do that as well. So that's another advantage to having that little snap on the front. And I really like that. Like I said, that Gamakatsu tournament snap is the best one. Super strong. It's kind of a pain to get on and off, but once you hook it up, it is there and is done. So that's kind of my unboxing for the Negotiator. Kind of wild how it's a little bit fatter. I don't know if it has to do with with that film that's on it, but I think it's just a little bit thicker piece of wood. They may have improved their own design and made them a little bit thicker. Maybe it increases the action, makes them a little bit better. So I'm gonna go out there on the water and test it and see what that bad boy can do, because we got on our Bassmaster Elite Series schedule next year, we got Lake Fork on there in May. We've got some other big bass fisheries, Santee, a couple other places where Glidas could come into play. They could be a player in some of those tournaments next year. I've definitely caught plenty of bass in competition on this particular one on Lake Fork, and I've caught some on other lakes on the schedule, which I'm not going to go into. I'm not going to go into all those details on which ones I'll throw gliders on, but anyway, that's the unboxing for the Roman Made Negotiator. If you've not seen them, you may want to check them out if you're into the big bait thing. And if you're not into the big bait thing, it is a lot of fun because they definitely catch big fish. And I've caught some small fish. I've caught 13 and 14-inch bass on that 7.5-inch big old bait right there. So they definitely have no problem eating it, and it's a lot of fun to fish. It's just kind of a new way to think about it. And if you're still trying to embrace the whole concept of fishing a big bait like this, in my opinion, you fish it a lot like a jerk bait, like you would, you know, as far as the angles and the way you try to coax fish out of cover to hit them. But we can go over that on how to fish glide baits another day. But this is really just all about this brand new, beautiful glide bait right here, Roman Made Negotiator.